Remember, all along the road, wherever he went, people were warning him that when he goes there, he's going to be in prison. And Paul said, I'm ready to not only go to Jerusalem and be in prison, I'm willing to go and die there. He didn't stop him. Now, there's a lot of discussion whether Paul the Apostle was really led of God to go there, or that was just the desire of Paul's heart to go. Whichever it is, God still used Paul in a great and mighty way when he got there and continued to use him. The world looks and says, what does this mean? Verse 8, they ask another question. Let's back up a little bit. How is it that we hear each in our own language in which we were born? They didn't understand that either. In verse 7, you find another question by the world. And they were all amazed and marveled, saying to one another, look, are not these who speak Galileans? Aren't these, ain't that who they are? Now you find in just these first few verses, the world does not, those people, I should say, apart from Christ, do not understand the data at hand. But you know what, friends? They're not interpreting the data at hand today either, are they? They don't see what's going on in the Middle East right now is the very time clock, the very time bomb, if you will, for the end of the age. They said the tensions right now in the Middle East are the hottest they've been since the Six-Day War. And so we're looking at a time in which an invasion of Israel can happen at any time, and it could very well be that this next invasion will be the invasion that Ezekiel chapter 38 and 39 speak of, where Russia, Eastern Europe, Ethiopia, Libya, those states around the Baltic Sea come against Israel to push it into the sea. And the Bible says that God fights for Israel and destroys 5/6 of the invading army. Talk about a real change around in power in the world. That's going to do it. When you realize that most of the Arab countries that come against Israel who have the oil, it's not going to be in Israel's hands. Strange phenomenon. We live in a very interesting time that the world cannot understand the moral decay in our country, when decadence seems to be in rather than anything that resembles anything sane. And it seems the more outlandish, the more outrageous it is, seems to be the better society likes it and the more they feed upon it. Why is that? Because men have and women have a whole sin nature that wants to be at peace. And so we find these things. The world cannot understand what is really happening to them. They cannot understand the things of the Spirit. They have to be supernaturally understood. So, verse 12. So they were all amazed.
Where's Mr. C? Mr. C!
Scratching their head. What does this mean? What are they doing? Saying to one another, what could ever this mean? Others mocking said, they're full of new wine. Now, it's always interesting to me that the world will come up with an answer when they don't know the answer. Oh, they're just drunk. Now, I'll tell you, I've been around drunk people in my life. I have rarely ever heard anybody, when they were drunk, change into languages of a hometown dialect. It violates all logic. But you see, the carnal mind violates all logic as well. I have always been amazed with people that I see on a particular road in their life, and you'll ask them, they'll say, don't you see that your lifestyle, your drinking is killing you? Yeah. Do you want to stop? Yeah. And then they'll get up and they'll pour themselves a drink. And you wonder, what in the world is wrong with the mentality of man? They have an understanding of some things, but when they cannot figure it out, then they come up with their
Well, I guess since you guys are done playing.
And if you don't know what the truth is in God's Word, you can
Maybe you're not.
to a deeper conclusion. Now, we know by reading the Bible that God created everything. But the world, because they can't accept the real God, they have to then make something up. And so they come up with the excuse, evolution. Yeah, that's it. That's the answer. That's how we all got here. And it's just like saying, when someone says, oh, they're full of new wine, they're drunk, well, in their drunkenness, they're accomplishing something that you could never accomplish if you weren't drunk. Just as evolution can never accomplish what they say it can in a chaotic state. The logic of the world is horribly flawed. And you don't really have to look at it very much or very long to see how flawed it really is when they try to give you the answers for life. You, again, look at these bumper stickers or these other philosophies, go for it, party on, he with the most toys when he dies wins. All these kind of little sayings that in some way try to appease the nagging conscience of a real eternal God. Well, they're full of new. In verse 14, we find an interesting phenomenon that happens. But Peter, standing up with the 11, raised his voice and said to them. Now, this is interesting because first we had the Spirit on fire, then we had the mouth on fire, now we have the Word on fire. Now, this is the same Peter, if you remember, that was intimidated by even a little slave girl. There when Jesus was having his beard pulled out, they had blindfolded Jesus, they were beating him in the face. Of course, the disciples a few hours before thought Jesus was getting ready to set up this earthly kingdom, and they were going to be ruling and reigning with him, and they really liked the idea of that. And they didn't really want to hear about Jesus going to the cross and dying. Jesus told them that many times. They didn't, I don't want to hear that. Your kids have the same thing called selective hearing. And anyway, they hear what they want to hear, and they don't hear it. You tell your kids that you're going to go buy them a toy in the store, and they will never, ever, ever let you forget that. You tell your kids that you're going to, if you're real good, we'll take you, to this really neat amusement park, and every day you'll hear that for the rest of the summer. When are they going to go? When are they going to go? But you can say, honey, now you need to dump the trash. They forget that. And that's lying to say it. That's gone before it ever gets in their ears. Selective hearing. Well, the disciples, I think, were like that. I think we can be that way. That we hear what we want to hear, and when we don't hear what we don't hear. And all the talk about Jesus going to Jerusalem and dying and all that thing, so that's and even Peter rebuked Jesus, saying, you don't got to go to Jerusalem, you don't got to die. And Jesus said, get behind me, Satan. So we do know that